You are looking live at the Sports Porch Philadelphia. I am the Grand Schwalbini, a lifelong Philly fan living in Pittsburgh, of all places.
Hmm.
And Rube is a lifelong Philly fan living in Austin, Texas. We are so pleased to be here to talk to you today to help you get out of those winter doldrums because, boy, it's not that good right now, Rube. It is not a good sports scene right now.
It's not a good sports scene. As we were talking about before the show, it's been cold. Even in Austin, Texas, we got thick ice and yucky weather, and we've been stranded at the
Ice.
house. So it's just, I was looking forward to watching a good Flyers game last night, and I didn't even end up turning it on because it was 2-0 before I could even get to it. So let's
Yeah,
pick ourselves up out of the doldrums and let's give the fans
we
something to
will.
cheer about, shall we, on the porch tonight?
We will. Right before we get to that, I just want to let you know if you are watching us on YouTube, and that is at Philadelphia Sports Porch, make sure you smash that subscribe button. We're trying to get that following up. If you're on X at Philly Porch, make sure you click follow. And you can also see us on the Facebook pages Philadelphia Beautiful and the Philadelphia Sports Porch. So there's a lot of different things that we can talk about. Let's first just talk about what is actually still going on. There is a Super Bowl coming up. There is a game that is between Sam Darnold and the upstart Seattle Seahawks and Drake May and Vrabel and his New England Patriots. The Patriots get back there just 6 years removed from Tom Brady. So, Rube, before we get into the game, what are some of your thoughts on what do you think of the championship games?
Um, the Denver Patriots game, it was kind of cool to watch the snow and if I had to hear Tony Romo say one more time about how bad the weather was, I was about to jump
Mhm.
off the roof, but it was too
Right,
cold to go outside, so I didn't jump off the roof.
right.
Um, and so it just became kind of a cruddy game.
Yeah,
Not much offense, obviously. Denver was already down their quarterback and now asking Stidham to come in and lead them back in a snowstorm. Unfortunately, and even the kicker, you can't even blame the kickers for missing. So it wasn't much of a game, but I'll tell you what, the NFC Championship game more than made up for it. Terrific game, lots of offense.
mhm. Yep,
Um, both quarterbacks played very well. I was surprised at how the offenses dominated the defense. I thought coming in
yeah,
this year, the Rams were going to get over the hump because of this young defense and Verse and all those guys.
right.
But Seattle took them apart. And with all the naysaying of Sam Darnold by everybody, since the beginning of his career, I thought he played a terrific game. I thought he's been spot
Yeah.
on the whole playoff. So
How
give
about
those guys
this?
credit.
How about this of the quarterback class of Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, and Sam Darnold? The only one to get to the Super Bowl thus far is Sam
Sam
Darnold.
Sam Darnold. That's unbelievable. That's a
Isn't it?
great stat. Yeah.
Isn't it? Isn't it?
Can you believe that? You never would have bet on that. Even this year, you wouldn't have bet on that.
Well, you know me. I have some different takes, not the biggest Josh Allen fan.
Yep.
And also not the biggest Sean McVay fan.
Hmm.
Thought that he sort of almost coached them out of the Bears game. And thought he didn't really help them much in this game either. Um, so, look, he's a brilliant offensive mind. I'm not going to argue that. But I do think he kind of leaves himself in a pickle, shall we say, in terms of managing the game whilst also managing the offense. I think that's something he might need to think about um, going forward. But that's just my 2 cents.
We left some points on the board, for
Mhm.
sure. But here's what I would tell you. I think it was a great championship game. I thought both of
Yep.
those teams absolutely deserved to be there.
Hmm.
Um, I didn't really watch Seattle until the playoffs. And I'll tell you what, man, JSN,
Yeah.
Your pick for under the radar, if I remember, for fantasy 2 years
Mm-hmm.
ago,
Mm-hmm.
guys, for real.
Yeah.
So who would have thunk you get rid of Metcalf, you get rid of Lockett, you get rid of some other guys, and all of a sudden you're better. So
Right.
um,
And that running back is damn good too. Kenneth
yeah,
Walker.
Kenneth Walker out of Michigan State, great running back. So they're for real, and Darnold is proven to be a very very good quarterback. He was throwing darts, and he was doing
Mm-hmm.
it under pressure. So I,
Yeah.
I guess we'll do our predictions next week.
Yeah.
Got some time, but uh, it should be a terrific game on the Patriots side.
Yeah.
I mean, what did they go 4-12 last year?
4-12 the last 2 years. They went
The
four and
last two
12.
years, right? So shame on Tennessee for getting rid of Vrabel, idiots. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Drake May is for real. He was my under the radar quarterback, if you remember going into a couple seasons ago.
Mm-hmm.
So and I don't know about you. I kind of feel I have mixed emotions about the Patriots on many levels, but Milton Williams, it kind of bothers me that he's going back to the Super Bowl after leaving the Eagles. What do you feel?
Actually, it doesn't really bother me. The interesting thing about Milton Williams is, he basically did nothing the whole year. Are you aware of that? Like he had,
No,
I think,
no,
I
no.
think he had like 2.5 sacks. He was injured for a period. I think he might have missed like 6 or 7 games. Um, and they were running a story about like after their first playoff game, Vrabel was giving him a big hug and just, telling him like, "Hey, I told you you're important to this team," like that kind of a thing. And I saw that Milt Williams had 8 quarterback pressures yesterday, which was tops in all the championship games. So he does come to play. And you know what? It sounds like he's a leader too. Apparently, in the locker room, um, Vrabel said, this is your night to party, and then tomorrow we talk about winning the next game. And apparently, I guess like tomorrow morning, or I guess that was, Monday morning, they had their bus was leaving, I guess, to the airport at 8 a.m. And Milton Williams stood up and said, like, y'all can party tonight, but if you ain't on the bus at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, you ain't playing in the bowl.
You sounded just like him. That was uncanny.
I tried. I
Yeah.
tried. But yeah, the Patriots, they're kind of one of, I mean, here's the weird thing about the Patriots. Now, yeah, Drake May's a good quarterback. Vrabel's a good coach.
Good running
Um,
backs.
yeah, good running backs. Although, like, here's one of those things. Now, look, if it was our team, the Philadelphia Eagles, we wouldn't care how they got there. We could give it 2 cents, right? We couldn't
Hmm.
care less. But as just the fan watching that dreadful, like nobody could even move forward in the fourth quarter game,
Hmm.
it seems like one of the least deserving Super Bowl trips of all time. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
basically,
they were great all year. It wasn't like they
eh,
skated through the playoffs and
yeah.
got lucky. It's that's the way the ball bounces. You got to play with what's in front of you. They had to play on the road. God, did you see
Mhm.
the weather in Foxborough? It was even worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, but
they went
but
on
it
the
was
road and they won.
but it was like the only reason they got a touchdown was because Stidham was just awful trying to throw the ball. You know what I mean? Like it was just the whole thing was just kind of like that. Like I left that game thinking, if Bo Nix is quarterbacking this game, they definitely win. It's
Yeah.
like it's not even a question, you know?
Well, we'll see. I think this is the rematch, right? This
Yeah,
was the game where Russell Wilson threw the interception instead of
yeah,
giving the ball to beast
yeah.
mode, and
Uh,
so it's amazing to see. It's amazing to see the parity in the NFL, right? I don't think
mhm,
either one of us. I don't think.
mhm.
I wonder what the odds were for Seattle versus New England in the Super Bowl this year. It had to have been
Yeah.
monster odds
Yeah,
or
actually
long shot.
actually both teams were 60-1.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Now,
good for them.
interesting fact about parity in the league. I would argue that there is parity in the league, but with one exception. There's only one team in the whole NFC who hasn't made a championship game in 30 years. Do you know who that team is?
Got to be the Lions.
Nope, they were there like 2 years ago.
They were in the championship game?
Yeah, they lost to the 49ers in the championship game.
All right, let me think for a second.
I'm a little disappointed here, Rube, to be honest with you here.
That hasn't made it. Oh, the Cowboys.
The Cowboys.
The Cowboys. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I'm off my game tonight.
Lots of fun. Lots of fun. All right. Hey, listen, though, before we get to some Eagles stuff, all right, once in a while, there's a play that I think kind of goes down in history. And I want to show you this play and give me, your impressions. Did I load this up here? I thought that I did. Yes, I did. Here it is.
He's going to take off and run. Mendoza weaves his way first and goal, diving toward the end zone. Touchdown! That's where he won the Heisman Trophy.
What a call. What a call by Curt Cignetti and the offensive coordinator, Mike Shanahan. Quarterback draw. He definitely breaks the plane, holds on to the football for a touchdown. What an...
Tell you what, that was one to remember. And here's what I have to say. I mean, look, I think we now have a replacement for the John Elway dive for the first down. That dive is better.
The spin?
Yeah, this dive was better because he scored a touchdown on a 4th and 4.
Yeah, but he wasn't like 89 years old like John Elway. That was great, man. I thought we didn't talk college football, and I'm glad we are, because I'll tell you what. Again, who would have thunk that those two teams would have made it to the championship game? And it was a very good game in Indiana. Mm-hmm. This is really, truly like a Hoosier story. Who saw them come in going 16-0, wire to wire, for a team that's never done anything in football? So I give him a lot of credit. I give Cignetti, what an amazing story.
Yeah, there was a picture that I showed my wife, and it was 2 years ago, opening game, Indiana, Cignetti's debut, and there was like not a single fan in the stands. I mean, just unbelievable. And I'll tell you what, I mean, I really just love the way Indiana played. They really play like a team.
They played flawlessly. Flawlessly.
Yeah, Mendoza is just a gamer, and really, it was a shame that anybody had to lose that game, because Miami played a pretty lousy first half, but they played an excellent second half, and it was just it was a lot of fun. It was a great game to watch. The 4th and 4, I just loved that call. It kind of reminded me of a little bit like of the Philly special, where it was just kind of like, hey, look, this is the championship game. We can't kick a field goal here and and end up like going to overtime or losing by 1 point. Like, let's get this now. I don't care. 4th and 4, I trust my guys. Let's put it in the Heisman's hands, and let's do it. I just loved it. Just a ballsy call. I really enjoyed it.
It was memorable, and I know you're not a big Penn State fan, but I was watching the Indiana-Penn State game earlier in the year, and Penn State had them. They were down to the last play. And did you see that play back of the end zone? He threw it high.
I think I did, yeah.
And the guy came in. I mean, you talk about another play of the year. That could have changed their whole season right there. And usually when they get to be national champions, you need a play like that. That's just miraculous. And I think that was it for them. And they haven't been able to be stopped since. So congratulations to all those IU fans to win something other than a basketball national championship.
Yeah. Now let's go here. Now this is not up to date, Rube, but we were talking about this. Yeah, seems like there's just like a hell of a lot of people that the Eagles are talking to, and not a lot of action as far as making a decision.
Mm-hmm.
So the big question is, now people have been talking about this ad nauseum, like
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
We know all these things out there, like, oh, do people not want to work with Nick Sirianni? Do people not want to work with Jalen Hurts? Do people not want to do it because they don't know if AJ Brown's going to be there? Blah 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 blah. Right. So, what do you think's the reason why there's been no coaching move yet, and is that a bad thing or not?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and there's so many different ways I could go with this, but I'm going to give you my take, uh, but I'm sure there's some other good ones out there. And here is my sensible take. My sensible take is that the Eagles' offense is aging. You look at who may not be back next year. Goddard may not be back. AJ Brown may not be back. Lane Johnson may not be back. Saquon's another year older. Offensive line wasn't what it was. So in a market like Philadelphia, with losing all those pieces, um, and perhaps not necessarily believing that Jalen Hurts can carry the offense all on his own, I think a lot of people are shying away um, from the job because of that. So on top of that, they're going to have to pay the defense, right? They're going to have to play Jalen Carter. They're going to have to play Coop. They're going to have to pay Quinyon Mitchell. Da 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 down the line. I think they're going to have to go become a younger offense. And let's face it, the fans in Philly aren't very patient on waiting for a young offense to come around over a few seasons. So I think the main thing is that I like that comment. I think that's a very legitimate comment from
Well,
Lemmer.
they did egg the former offensive coordinator's house.
Yeah, yeah,
Some unruly fans, not
yeah.
representative of all Philadelphians, of course.
Exactly. But I think they're afraid with what they're going to have to work with, and the Eagles are going to have to get younger on the offensive side of the ball, and like we know, we don't have a lot of patience for down years, and so there's no upside for this team offensively. The upside is limited for this team offensively based on what we saw coming out of this past year. That's my take.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't really look at it so much as, can I win with the selected group of players. I sort of more look at it from a couple vantage points. So first of all, on the coach's side of it, all right,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very risky job to take.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's high risk, high reward. You go, you win, you win a Super Bowl, you become a head coach. That's Kellen Moore and that's Shane Steichen, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
and Jonathan Gannon, right? Well, they didn't win, but they got to a Super Bowl. So that's the reward. But then the risk is, we don't do well, I'm fired after 1 year. And that's Brian Johnson and Kevin Patullo.
Right.
So I think it's a really high pressure job. And I also think that I'm just going to sort of gather that, a positive is that you get to do the play calling here. But at the same time, I'm not entirely sure, how much of your offense you get to run if you do have to do a blend with Nick Sirianni. And so I think that it's sort of like an odd situation. It's not like Nick Sirianni is a defensive coordinator turned coach, and he's giving the offense over to you. So I think that those are some things that hold candidates back. On the flip side, as far as the Eagles are concerned, I don't mind the long approach. I think that the two times that we had basically no lengthy process was the two times that we completely failed under Sirianni, which was with Brian Johnson and Kevin Patullo, just a real quick promote from within and barely talk to anybody. Right. So I think it's good to talk to as many people as you can. I mean, look, there's a lot of layers to it too. You're also talking to people because you may end up hiring one of those guys as a head coach a year from now. Right. Right. So you're learning how people think, you're learning ideas about what people would do with your players, that kind of stuff. And the bottom line is, look, I don't really think that there really was a great group of candidates. Like if I really think about like the best play callers in the NFL, most of them are coaches, head coaches who call the plays. I mean, look, Brian Dable. Well, we all say he did well with Josh Allen. Okay. Probably a lot of others would as well, right? Whoever's with Joe Brady has done very well with Josh Allen.
That's why he's head coach now.
Right. That's why he's now head coach there. Like Mike McDaniel, I don't know. I thought the guy was I think he's weird. I don't want my offensive coordinator wearing capri pants. I mean, look, what's he ever done? I mean, look, so 1 year in Miami, they had a pretty dynamic offense when Tyreek Hill was healthy and Waddle stayed healthy all year, and they do a nice job with the running backs. But yeah, I don't know what's he do that's so special, right? And then there's these other guys that to me they're just sort of guys like guys who they have a high football IQ. They're going to be in leadership roles, and they're in some sort of leadership role now, like Mike Kafka. Okay, I don't know. What can he do? I don't know. You know what I mean? So I look at a lot of these candidates and I kind of say to myself, I'm okay if you want to take your time and really think about it and, probably come up with somebody that we're probably not going to be over enthused about, but maybe they'll be pretty darn good.
Well, what do you think of Nagy, right? So Nagy, the guy that was the coach for the Bears for those years, and then he's been with Andy Reid. To me, that sounds logical, right? There's nothing wrong with Andy Reid's offense.
Yep.
He's an experienced guy. To me, I wouldn't be terribly disappointed with that. I think he'd probably stay around for a couple of years if he's successful. But who knows at this point? It's just not as attractive as a job as it was a year ago. And I go back to the point I was making was it's an aging offense, and we're going to have to be young because we have to pay our defense. So, do you want to go stake your reputation on that combined with you don't know what you really get with Jalen Hurts? Again, he's a winner. We can agree on that, but he's an average quarterback when it comes to throwing the ball at best. So, the one thing that we've seen, even when we won the Super Bowl, is the running game carried us and not the passing game. Yes, did he have some good games? Of course. Yes, did he play well in the playoffs? Of course. But over a certain period of time, he's not what I would call a premier passing quarterback, and that limits offensive coordinators. So I think that's my take.
He just does the one thing that people like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson can't do: win. All right, but anyway, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, look, Nagy it seems like a logical choice. At the same time, I don't know that I'm crazy about him just because Eric Bieniemy was better than him as an offensive coordinator. And now that is why Nagy is not there and Bieniemy is back there. I guess here, you're gonna die laughing, and I think I might have somebody named Lemmer, who might be on my side here.
Okay.
But it's kind of like a hire that would not garner a lot of enthusiasm, but I think might just be a good hire.
Okay.
I say we bring in Jim Bob Cooter.
Well, he's been on their interview list,
Yeah,
and he was with the Eagles back in 21, earlier in the 20s, I think.
Yep.
He's had success in the college level.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about him. Like to say I've got an opinion on Jim Bob Cooter other than it's a great name. He's got a pedigree. He's been around the game for a while.
He's called plays. He has a relationship with Sirianni. I think somebody like that would be a good hire. Now there's other people too. Like I don't know if you know this, but do you know what's his name? He used to be a quarterback for a short period as a backup. Sean.
Yeah, the guy
Mannion?
from the guy
Green
that was
Bay.
at Virginia Tech, and we played at Virginia Tech, I think, if I remember. Yeah.
He plays.
But he's another young guy, right?
But he's basically been tutored under the guy at Green Bay, Matt LaFleur, Sean McManion, or
Matt
something
LaFleur.
like that.
How many Super Bowls has he? How many Super Bowls has Matt LaFleur won? By the way,
0.
He's another. Yeah, he's another. Like he's a 33-year-old kid, right? Why not just stick with Patullo?
Well, but here's the thing, whether or not Green Bay has gotten over the hump, one thing I do really like about Green Bay and Matt LaFleur is I really do like the way he runs the offense. I mean, when he's got Jordan Love slinging it around, I mean, I really like that kind of play calling. And if he's learned anything from it, I think that could be a decent choice. You also have they're still talking a little bit about like Charlie Weiss Jr., who would have to leave.
Nah, I think he's going to Ole Miss. He's going to LSU with Kiffin. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not ready. Like we were talking about earlier, there's 3 flavors of coordinator. There's the young hot shot upcoming. There's the hey, let's get someone for a year and they're going to get their next head coaching job, or there's the wily veteran like a Vic Fangio, and who is happy just being a coordinator for a very successful organization. So I think to me, we've tried the young and we've missed twice on it. We've been successful in hiring young upstart head coaches, but we haven't been very successful hiring young upstart coordinators. So I think we got to. I think if I'm Sirianni, I think I got to err on the side of I don't have a good year next year. I'm out.
Right.
So
exactly.
He's going to have to give up control of that offense to an extent, and trust whomever he's going to have to give it up to is going to be able to do like a Kellen Moore type of job.
Right. I mean, and I think, I think like a Jim Bob and a Nagy are, kind of those type of guys. Don't you think?
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah.
We shall see.
So those are the takes, but I like the comments that we've been getting. Yeah. I don't know. Would you want to go and be offensive coordinator for the Eagles?
Absolutely.
With these fans? With these fans? And
absolutely. You know why? Because I can just
you have confidence in yourself.
Well, yeah, that number one. And number two, I can just say, hey, Howie, we need to get younger. Get me some young guys. Howie, you know what? A.J. Brown's a pain in the ass. Can you get me a wide receiver in the first round? All right, thank you. Like Howie, you know what? We need to improve this run game. Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we sign Linderman from the Ravens to play center? Let's move Juergens back out to guard. I think that solves the problem. Can you do that for me, Howie? You got it.
So are you throwing your hat in the ring, Schwabi?
Problems get solved here. Problems get solved. We don't put up with garbage football for very long. All right, let's move on to something that is kind of a let's just call it a bummer.
Oh,
Harrison Bader is gone, a 2-year, I think roughly $21 million a year deal. Whoops, that's not what I want. And, look, I have to say, I don't get it. I don't get why he is not back with the Phillies. And oh, by the way, I believe since we did our last show, we never got a chance to break down the whole Bo Bichette debacle. So look,
it's been a rough month. It's been a rough 2026, hasn't it?
It is. I mean, I have to say, I got to give Dombrowski a C- for this off season. I mean, bringing back Schwarber is obviously an A+, but he's already on the team. You're not getting better; you're staying the same by bringing him back. Same thing with JT. Now, the move that everybody thought, you lost Ranger, right? You lost Ranger. The move that everybody thought might, tip the scales was bringing in Bo Bichette, like a lifetime 300 hitter that hits for power, has speed, plays great defense. And, you're basically selling it to the Philadelphia fan base as if it's a done deal. And then, wait a minute, I'm a New York Met. And what really disappointed me about that was it seemed like the Phillies were played. It seemed like the Phillies were basically used. I mean, they basically said, this is what we want, 7 years, $200 million. Phillies said, we got it. We'll give it to you. Verbal agreement. Let's work out the details in the morning. And in the morning, they came back and said, nah, we're going to the Mets, and we got, an average, amount per year of like 40 million, but we can buy ourselves out year 2, year 3, whatever it might be. And Dombrowski doesn't like to give out those deals, but that's what the big players are doing these days. They're taking those kinds of deals where they bet on themselves and they can get out of it and make more money after a year or two. So I don't know, man. That was just sort of like a pretty big blow. It's okay to lose Harrison Bader. It's okay to lose Ranger Suarez if you give me Bo Bichette. But you're giving me nothing. You're giving me, and the thing with Harrison Bader doesn't even make sense to me because he's the best outfielder you have. I mean, why are we emphasizing, we must play Brandon Marsh. To me, Brandon Marsh is like a nice fourth outfielder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they're going to give the center, they're going to give Crawford every chance to win the starting job in center, right? We signed, what is it, Aroldis? The guy, who's the guy in right field that we signed?
Yep, Garcia.
And they're going to roll the dice with Marsh and, well, no more Weston Wilson. He's gone. So yeah, we'll have to see. It was disappointing to see him leave. He was an instant favorite around Philadelphia, and it's too bad. But I think at some point you got to stop throwing money around, and we've made our bed, and we're gonna have to lie in it now. We're going into the season with Christopher Sanchez as our number one, which isn't bad. But who else?
Did you hear Harrison Bader's comments?
He essentially said, yeah, I don't know why I'm not with them, other than perhaps they just didn't have enough money to go around for me, more or less.
Like he was like really down, like bummed out that he wasn't staying. He thoroughly enjoyed it here. You know what I mean? And sometimes one of the things I think in terms of building a team, right? There is a part of building a team that has to do with camaraderie, it has to do with vibes, has to do with the guys getting along and playing for each
Yeah.
other, like bringing energy. And like that's what this guy brings, man. That's what he
Yeah.
brings. Okay, look, I get it. Last year was sort of like a career year for him. Like he hit 280 and 17 home runs. Okay, fine. So next year he hits 260 and hits 12 home runs. I don't care. He catches everything that's near him in center field. He gives you a big hit in the clutch when you need it. He's got speed. He's got energy.
The fans love him.
Right. Like that's important, man. That's important. So yeah, just I don't know, man. Like and I guess the other thing that sort of annoys the hell out of me is that the way Dombrowski, talks about the team as if everything's no big deal. Just like, well, we really like our club. We really like our club.
And
well, no, you didn't really like your club because you offered Bo Bichette $200 million. So you didn't like your club. So now that he's not on your new improved club that you wanted to have, who else is going to now come to the new improved club that you want to have? Or I'm just satisfied. We're satisfied. We like our club right now. We like our club.
As we go up the turnpike and we have to face Soto, Peralta, and Bichette, and who's the shortstop? The really good shortstop for the Mets. Lindor. Yeah. So
yeah. and think about a team like the Mets. Now the Mets also, look, they lost the star first baseman, Pete
Alonso. Yeah.
Pete Alonso. And they lost like their closer. I think they lost. But they did what we wanted them to do, the Phillies to do. They mixed it up.
Yeah.
They mixed it up. You can't keep sending the same thing back year after year. And then we win 90 games and we get to the playoffs and we can't hit. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm getting a little worked up.
Let's bring it back. Let's move on. Let's talk winter sports.
I got some positivity here. Okay.
Hit us with it.
Well, just before I give you some positivity, let me just give you a twinge of negativity.
Okay.
Coming off probably the worst Sixers loss in history. I think I turned it on in the third quarter and it was like 110-50 or something. But Tyrese Maxey had a career low, I think 6 points. Let's also give him props for being named an all-star starter. I believe this makes Tyrese Maxey officially elite, and I think he will come back with a huge game tonight. So Rob, thoughts on Maxey and the Sixers in general? Also, before you get started, I also want to say congratulations to VJ Edgecombe, who will be in the Rising Stars game. Also, just to note, the favorite for Rookie of the Year, slightly over the guy who plays for Dallas, Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag. Is he just a rookie? I guess he just came out.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. So some nice things going on for the Sixers. Look, they're hanging around in the 4th, 5th, 6th seed. Thoughts, Rude?
Yeah. So I think we're seeing kind of what we expected from this team. 500 team, 7-6, I think, in January. I want there are two things that kind of come to mind for me with this team. Yes, I'm excited. Congratulations to Tyrese and VJ. I love the backcourt. When's the last time we could say that about a Philadelphia team? They tease us and they get and Embiid's scoring and dunking and feeling good again, and even Paul George plays pretty well, and we don't need him to be the $50 million guy that he's paid to be. And it teases you, and you're like, all right, I really think this team can do it. And then they forget how to rebound, right? So I watched the Knicks game, that we lost the other day. I guess it was over the weekend. How many offensive rebounds did you see us give up where they threw it to the corner and the Knicks hit a three? If it didn't happen 50 times, it didn't happen once. So, it's the little things like not turning the ball over and rebounding. Forget about the scoring. We're going to be able to score. And yesterday, I think, was just an anomaly. Weird time game on the road, snow, blah, blah, blah. Flush it. But there's disturbing things that I'm seeing with this team that we didn't see at the beginning of the season. And then when you add on, to managing the minute stuff with two of your highest paid guys, at some point, things were going to come back down to earth, and that's where we are. So listen, we can go sign somebody at the trade deadline to help get us some minutes and score and rebound. I think just a rebound and play defense, quite honestly, would be good. I'm a little worried about the McCain kid. McLean, is it McCain or McLean?
I think it's McCain.
They sent him down. McCain. They sent him down to the Blue Jackets, the Blue Coats or whatever they're called. Didn't have a great game again yesterday in his first game back up. So I think there's some figuring out to do. But honestly, if they could just play smart basketball, not turn it over, and for God's sakes rebound the ball, I think we're going to be okay. So Nurse has to show me what he's got to start getting back to the basics with this team.
Okay, makes sense. I mean, I'm not down and out on the Sixers. I think they got a lot of talent, and I'll tell you, when everybody plays, they're pretty strong. I mean, they had that really nice win against Houston. So they show you flashes. But at the same time, I think it's really hard when you don't know who's going to be in the game on a day-to-day basis.
That's
to establish really any kind
basketball
of
is very much a game of team. And if you don't know who's doing what on any given day, it is tough. So, and our bench just isn't good enough to make up for it. And that's just the fact.
Before we move on here, I just want to put up something we had from YouTube. Chuck Jones. Hey, thanks, Chuck. And remember to hit the subscribe button. He is a Dodgers fan, and he says the Phillies are the only team that scares him because they can throw 2 top 7 pitchers in 4 of the 7 playoff games. Now, I will say this. Look, the Phillies really played the Dodgers pretty darn tight. I mean, every game was, I believe, a 1-run ball game or close to it. And I did hear something like one of those guys, either was Buster Olney or somebody like that, and they were saying that that the Dodgers brass felt like they were really fortunate and lucky to get by the Phillies. So okay, I guess you got to respect the Phillies, right? They got the pitching, but I guess the only place where I would differ is the Dodgers win the World Series and they go out and they get Kyle Tucker, right? Or like, let's even go back to, remember when the Dodgers were like the Phillies, where
on the cusp.
They were on the cusp every year, and every year they lose in the playoffs. Well, the way they stopped that was they got Ohtani. And then they won the World Series. And then they got Kyle Tucker, which will help them win next year's World Series.
Mookie Betts. Yeah.
And they got Mookie Betts. And we're probably even just leaving people out because every day they sign one of the best players in baseball. And look, my one last thing is, look, Middleton, maybe you're kicking yourself for saying it. But when you made that stupid money comment, you gotta live with that. You made that bed. You gotta lie in it. Don't tell me stupid money. I don't care that you're the 3rd highest payroll in Major League Baseball. Well, guess what? The team that's the number 1 payroll in Major League Baseball has won the World Series 2 years in a row. Okay, so
listen, so agreed. Listen, the Phillies problem wasn't starting pitching last year. Even when Wheeler went down. The problem with the Phillies, as it has been the past 3 postseasons, is they can't get a timely hit to save their life, and their bullpen fell apart. So, what do you do this year? No Ranger, no, who knows when Wheeler's going to come back? Sanchez will be our ace, and then Luzardo will be okay. But beyond that, what's the starting pitching look like? Is Painter coming up, and is Painter going to be the real deal? I don't know. I don't know. So we'll have to see.
All right.
But anyway, back to the Sixers. Thanks for checking in, Chuck.
Yes. Well, I don't have anything more on the Sixers.
No, I think let's go
Flyers.
get a W tonight. Yes.
Yeah.
Fly boys.
Let's go Flyers. I'll tell you what, Rube.
Yeah.
Now we did have, since we last talked, they did have a really nice win in
Colorado.
Mm-hmm. But I got to be honest with you, man. I'm really getting tired of watching these Flyers games.
Well, it looks like last year, right?
It does.
So it's Vladar's been out.
Mm-hmm.
Konechny was out.
Forster's out.
Drysdale was out.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just not deep yet, right? We're up and coming, but we're not deep. And you saw what happens against teams like Tampa Bay, who are so far superior and deep that they score 13 goals in 2 games. And so all of a sudden, without Vladar and with our defense, without Drysdale and whomever else out there, we're starting to give up a lot of goals again. And when it rains, it pours. So we went from the narrative of, hey, Tockett's got these guys playing well. They don't lose back-to-back games. And then they lose like 6 in a row. So they're just not deep enough to make up for a loss of a couple of guys. And, that's the reality. And what we got, that's okay. But at some point, you got to start building depth on this team, or you got to start trusting your young guys and bringing the young guys up a little, get them the experience. And at some point, we got to go into a year with, a solid number 1 goalie, a good top 4 defenseman. And for God's sakes, we got to go out and get a center. So there's still work to do on this roster. The future looks bright with a couple of the draft picks, but we spoke about at the beginning of January. We said, buy or sell I forget what it was, but the Flyers would have a winning record in January. What are they, like 3-9? And they've given up a ridiculous amount of goals. So you get that great encouraging win against Colorado, and Tippett has a hat trick, and everything is great. And then you lose 4-0 to the Islanders at home. Come on.
Right.
So,
yeah.
We're starting to see kind of that youth and that inexperience and the lack of depth catch up with us.
I mean, I think the best thing we got going for ourselves this year is that we got the Olympic break coming up. we need to stop the bleeding, give almost everybody on the team a rest, and come back stronger.
It's amazing. You look at the division now, when everyone was kind of bunched up, and Carolina is clearly running away with it. But Pittsburgh all of a sudden's won a few games, and they're up there, and we can't have another month like this and expect to even sniff the playoffs. So we're gonna have to figure it out. And you're right, it's a great time for a bye.
It is. That being said, though, there's still, they're 6 points out of a playoff spot. It's not great.
And sinking.
Yeah, they are sinking. That's true. I don't know. I guess I'm still just.
And you know what else is really? I'm gonna tell you one other thing that annoys me with this team.
Yes.
So I'm on a plane home last week, and I'm looking at the score, and the Flyers are mostly the whole game against Utah. We're up 3-1. 4-2 into the third period. I got off the plane. I'm like, it's going to be a good win tonight. Yeah, Utah's a good team. And I checked the score the next day, and they lose 5-4.
By the way, did you see how that happened?
No, I didn't see the highlights. I was too depressed to look at it.
Oh my God.
What
All
happened?
right, Rube. Just prepare yourself. Prepare
Okay.
yourself. Okay. All right. Okay. 128 left in the game. Flyers lead by 1. Empty net. Garnett Hathaway
Oh,
with
God.
with the puck on his stick. I'm gonna say 10 feet away, 15 feet away max from the goal, with no one in front of him. He could just shoot it in, but he decides to, tap the puck, maybe get a little closer.
Oh,
Guy strips the puck from behind. They go down and they score to put it into overtime and
oh
with
my
an empty
gosh.
net.
I'm so glad I didn't see that.
It was one of the worst things I've ever seen. It was so bad. It was so bad. I mean, it's like,
Oh,
come
well,
on, man.
we move on. We move on.
We do. Well,
So
okay.
yeah, listen,
So,
it's been a rough month. Been a rough month for the winter teams, but again, I still remain optimistic that the Flyers are going in the right direction compared to the last 3, 4, 5 years, and the Sixers give us something to cheer about with the backcourt, and if they can go get a piece, even if they have to get rid of this Quentin Grimes guy who's really starting to annoy me, with all the fouls on the 3-point shooters, for God's sakes.
mhm.
Um, let's go get a piece and let's go see if we can make a run. So anyway, we move on.
Who would they get though?
I don't know
All
who
right.
they get.
All right.
Something. I'm unprepared for that. I just need something.
Okay, so now we come to the ending part of our show. Some folks look forward to this as their most favorite segment. It's called What We're Watching. And what we're watching, I'll tell you basically what that means. And what is going on here? Mark, we need a new show. Well, I'll tell you what, Lemmer. The fact that you're pleading for a new show, I'm actually going to give 2 shows tonight. Okay. Now, for everybody who wants to know, we sympathize with you because one of the most difficult things there is finding that new show. Just like Lemmer said, what do you do? Especially after you finish a good one, you're like, I'll never find another good one again. You got too many choices: Hulu, HBO Max, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Paramount Plus, Peacock. It just goes on and on and on. And what are you gonna do? You come to the Sports Porch, guys. We're gonna tell you 2 thumbs up if it's a winner, 2 thumbs down if it is no good. I know, I'm getting there, Amy. 2 and 1 thumb up, 1 thumb down. That kind of means you're at your own risk. Okay. So Rube, I'm going to start with you. One of the things that you have been watching is Landman.
Landman.
Season
if you
2.
don't,
So tell me a little bit about it.
if you don't like Landman or haven't seen Landman yet, you're just absolutely out of your mind. I was never really a big Billy Bob Thornton fan before this show, and let me tell you something. He is absolutely brilliant as a West Texas landman looking for oil and kind of running the crews in the fields. And season 2 just ended. The cast is outstanding. Sam Elliott joined the cast this season as Tommy Norris's dad. The characters are really interesting and obscure, but really what happened is in season 1, when it ended, essentially the boss of the company that Billy Bob Thornton was working for essentially had a heart attack. And he was really kind of the brains and the guts behind the operation and made some big bets. And when it starts out with season 2, not to give too much away, essentially he passes away. and then the company is left in the hands of Demi Moore, who is his wife, in the show of I think it was John Hamm who played Billy Bob Thornton's boss. And there's good storylines. It talks about some big bets that were made that are now left up to the company and Demi Moore and Billy Bob to go figure out. There's some good side stories with their son and his new girlfriend and what happens with that. For those of you who, I'm just going to say it out loud, like pretty girls. You have Ali Larter as his Meshuggah or his crazy wife. And then I don't know who plays the daughter, but she's apparently dating Glenn Powell now. I guess they're going to have beautiful babies, is what my wife told me. So the cast is awesome. Billy Bob Thornton is at his absolute best. The storyline's really cool. You laugh. There's some very harrowing scenes, and I think season 2 was every good as season 1. So 2 thumbs up for Landman season 2 from Ruben.
Excellent.
Paramount Plus.
Excellent. The problem for Amy May and myself is we don't have Paramount Plus completely. We have the Showtime version. So sometimes the show's on Paramount Plus and then Showtime gets it second. So we'll eventually get there, but I love Billy Bob Thornton. I'm a big fan. I think he's a fantastic actor. So I got 2 shows for you because
You're spoiling us.
Lemmer needs something big, so I'm going to save that for last. But this is just one that I watched over the weekend. It's just a 2-hour, okay? Skyscraper Live.
You've lost Lemmer. You've already lost her. I was watching. Go ahead.
No, this isn't for Lemmer. This isn't for Lemmer. That's what's coming next.
Okay, got it.
What did you watch Skyscraper Live?
We did. I did, and Emma Rubenstein did. We were texting. Yeah. Leslie came in and she gave one of these come on. That doesn't look that hard. He's just climbing a ladder. So with that, I shoot her away and said, "Go watch whatever chick flick TV show you're watching now." And I enjoyed it. I was nervous, but please tell our friends.
Yes. Actually, it's kind of funny because it came on. We were looking for something to watch, and Amy was like, "Oh, I want to watch this," because we saw the free Solo. Did you see that movie that he was in?
Yeah.
And I just my initial reaction was I don't want to spend 2 hours watching a guy get to the top. I know he's going to get to the top. All right. And then I started watching it, and then you get sucked in. You just get sucked in, and even though you have a pretty good feeling that he's going to make it, you don't entirely know because it is live.
And you don't know if Netflix would break away from it if, God forbid, something happened.
No, we heard that they were planned. It was on a time delay. So if he did fall, they go black. They don't show it.
That's just as dramatic.
yeah, but so bottom line is it's pretty insane, and there's those couple moments too, when he had his feet dangling and he had no hands all the way up there. That was nuts, man. This dude is just another creature on this planet. I mean, I don't know how he does it, but my God, does he make it look easy? But
totally.
man, but obviously they show you videos of him training and you see how just in unbelievable shape he is. But and the guy just seems completely unfazed. He's oh, it's just such a beautiful day. Oh,
yeah,
what a
look at this view. Can't beat this view. hey, everybody.
Right. It's insane, man. But the bottom line is, I said to people, I'm look, he's going to make it to the top, but trust me, you're still anxious through the whole thing. So
anxious is the exact right word. I was definitely anxious watching it.
All right. Well, I've got something new for you, my friend.
All right.
And, part of what makes the Grand Schwalbini what he is this segment, what we're watching, and turning people on to something that they might not have known existed, and then they must love you for the rest of their lives for introducing it to them.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I believe that is what happened in the past when I introduced you to Peaky Blinders. Is that
Yes,
correct?
Peaky Blinders, 100% was a
All right.
winner. Good work.
All right. Well, I don't look. I'm not going to say this is as good as Peaky Blinders. Okay, Peaky Blinders is probably a top 2 show all time for me.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you, I am going to put this one that Amy and I just finished. I'm going to put this in my top 10. Okay.
Okay.
And in my top 10, we have Chris.
Sorry.
Yeah. You're the guys. TD cannot handle the fact that he was fired. He's coming to the building. I thought that somebody had turned off his card key, but we're gonna have to get in touch with HR about that. But going to the show, this is what it is. Medici.
Okay.
Medici. So there's 3 seasons. This is actually from the 3rd season. It's Medici the Magnificent. Seasons 1 and 2, I think, are called Medici, rulers of Florence or something like that.
Yeah, we were just in Florence. We heard about the Medici all the time there.
Did you? Yeah.
Yes.
So and from what we've read, it seems like it's a pretty spot on depiction of their time in the banking industry and influencing the church and all sorts of advancement in terms of the Renaissance period of art and all that kind of stuff. So I will just tell you it's really, really good. Now there's sort of like a weird turn where the folks that are in season 1 are, for the most part, not in season 2 and 3. It's like the cast changes. Okay.
Which
And
usually isn't good.
Usually isn't good. Like after season 1, you're like you're all into it. You love these characters, and you're like hoping for excitement in year 2. And then like Amy and I were like, the first 2 episodes of year 2 were like who are these people? Like, you know what I mean? But then you just love them and you completely forget about the season 1 people. And it's just incredible. So it's really just, it's a story about that time in the 1400s where there were rival banking families ruling Florence and Milan and Rome and all these different places, and how like the church factored into these things, dealing a lot with the Pope and certain cardinals, who's going to get the papal account type of thing, and then wars that would be waged. Obviously it was swords back then. There were no guns. So it was that kind of stuff to be able to, try to, regain power or take power. And it was just a great, great story. So, and you basically follow the Medici family kind of through their entire, maybe through like 3 or 4 generations. And it's Italian, but it's done in English. Everybody speaks in English.
Okay.
There's kind of a weird big time star in season 1, which honestly is just a little odd. which is Dustin Hoffman. Okay.
He's the Medici? He's in the Medici family?
He's like the big dog in the first one, but he's not really in it a lot.
He's not the family lawyer?
He's not really in it a lot, but the guy who plays Lorenzo, who is, one of his sons, that it's basically like Lorenzo's show, kind of season 2 and 3. But
Okay.
You'll definitely like it. Great music in the show.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm telling you, Medici, if I had to come up with a list of top 10 shows of all time, I would definitely have the Medici in the top 10.
Okay.
And it's I believe it was originally an HBO Max show, but I think you can also find it on Prime. So it's either on Prime or HBO Max for you.
All right, Leonard. There you go.
I think we watched it on Prime.
Okay. All right. We're gonna check it out. Lemmer's in, she says.
All right, Lemmer.
Amy May, season 2 and 3 are so good. Okay. And I believe not to rain on your parade, I believe it's pronounced the Medici.
Yeah, the Medici.
The Medici.
Lorenzo de Medici.
The Medici.
The Medici. Good stuff. All right, everybody. So thank you for joining us. If you are watching on YouTube at the Philadelphia Sports Porch, smash that subscribe button for us. If you are watching on X, please follow. If you are late to the game, even though you wouldn't be hearing what I'm saying now, you can also listen to this again on a podcast. We can be found on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you get your podcasts. For Rube, I am the Grand Schwalbini. We wish you good tidings. And without any further ado, we bid you a farewell. And don't mess with the Peaky Blinders.
Oi! See you, everybody.
See you, everybody.